Greetings everyone, please give a moment, make sure everything's set on up. Let's see, YouTube thumbnail's not updating, so gotta do that manually. Let's see. Yeah, I'll just do that one. I don't have one created for Lash and Kindle. But here we go, that's uploaded. That's going. Looks like everything is booted on up. Give me a moment to activate live chat windows. And of course turn on macros. Not account settings. There we go, that's all booted on up, and give me a moment to turn on or take a look at my other computer, make sure live stream's going there. And looks like everything is good to go. Got a drink on hand, and let's get started. Greetings everyone, and Great here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay. As well as soft side as the Cobalt Ice Kindle, we have Leviathan XJVL, I think. Small on the north side is the even blacker hole Lash. We have H2EO, is that an I, capital I, lowercase l, or pipe 1. I don't know what symbol that is. By the way, let's get started. This map is a 3-base map, 1 airport. There are actually technically 2 airports. There is in fact a black boat sitting on top of the airport. I think I had my question answered this beforehand, but do black boats get the defense stars from the airport? My apologies, I need to adjust my microphone as well. But no, we got an artillery piece there. There's also recon in the corner, provide a bit of scouting. But does the artillery get you protection from the airport there? I suppose one way to figure it out is I simply can go like this. Probably should have gone like this, and then this. And then switch this, you see 38 to 44 to... So it does, wait. Yes. Number went up, so I was wondering what happened there? That's because number went down, not up. Sorry, my mind's a little bit melted right now. Both players do go for an early artillery piece to displace the black boat. You can always rotate it around to the recon afterwards. Got the recon pushed pretty far forward, thanks to this lander here, nice little boost. So now the recon does reconnoiter that infantry unit there, can start raiding around a little bit. Now got a tank deployed in the field, looks like that black boat's down to 1 health, while this one up here is down to 6. Lash does not get it killed off with our +1 damage. Kindle could have destroyed it quicker if she took a shot from the base and base locked herself. And artillery does break through the black boat and allow the tank to advance its way forward. We've also got a tank here, which is reconnoitered by the recon. We also do have a recon over here as well, so I'm gonna flip the airport now, or capture it, not flip it. Tank, infantry, and mech deployed down south. Up here we do have the tank. Alright, so this valley is just a little bit inflated. We do have 2 landers on the field, so quite a bit of value on the field for both sides inherently, and not likely those landers will be going down anytime soon. Number C is being captured up by a Lash right now. Got tank, artillery, and infantry. Does interrupt the capture there. Will stop the capture entirely. However, she will lose a tank. While Kindle does have plus 40% firepower when attacking from urbanized terrain, Lash gets plus 30% firepower. Oop! But there's the retaliation effect of Kindle. Managed to get a unit on her own city there, get plus 40% firepower. And unlike Kindle, Lash can get plus 30% firepower from this missile silo platform. This turn, next turn, this tank will be up to full health. She'll probably take the shot, and then mid 3 off tank will put up a follow-up shot there. Infantry, artillery, and battlecopter. Does strike the recon there. You now have an urban blight available, medium tank deployed on the field. And she does go for a pretty early urban blight. She does spot the artillery and infantry there. She could assume there's a tank here, something a bit more valuable, but she will strike a battlecopter instead. She does not have an anti-air on the field, which she and I have been told you want to get an anti-air out no later than turn 10. So there will be a 9 health battlecopter flapping around. Looks like this infantry will be stopped, probably from the artillery, maybe with the help of the recon. And this 3 off tank does fall back to the HQ. Does take out the recon there. Oh, she has vision of that artillery there, so she only entered this artillery medium tank into the range of artillery. That could... Okay, there's a tank there. I was wondering about that, but still, 4 health tank there could do a bit of damage. Probably a good idea to still take the shot. Battlecopter still out of vision range. Recon, infantry, T-copter, and anti-air. And the artillery does get 3 damage onto that medium tank, so overall did get a good shot there still. We'll take a shot there. Tank does a good hit, and this tank will get plus 30% firepower and does get destroyed. This tank here does have vision of this artillery piece, so still can finish off. The medium tank may take time to shoot this tank here, but we do have a rear artillery in the auxiliary to protect the artillery. Drops the infantry off there on that column tower, trying to start securing it. There's the anti-air, and it is going to be a stealth deployment into the forest. Tank, battlecopter, infantry. Lash almost has enough for a terrain or prime tactics. Double taps that infantry unit there. Battlecopter, artillery, infantry, and infantry. Lots of captures there, so up to 24,000 versus 22,000 income. Recon gets a good strike there. Try and flip this property there. Medium tank is back on top of the city there. Recon does spot the battlecopter. Of course, nothing in range, going to be capturing it. And this infantry unit will get shelled by the artillery piece, likely. And Lash could pop a prime tactics this turn. Does spot the tank there, the medium tank. Couple good hits there. And near end of the turn, Prime Tactics. I thought she was going to try to pop it out sooner, but she does go for now. Mech can basically one-shot this recon. Of course, we'll be in range artillery. So that Prime Tactics was not super great. Could have held off till maybe next turn. But she will at least have double defense for this turn. Battlecopter, tank, infantry, and recon. Decent amount anti-air, and of course the battlecopter in this region. Battlecopter is simply out of range. You'll have to go through the land to get to it. We'll strike that infantry up north, and now she can start capturing it. 24,000 versus 23,000 income at the moment. This one property here, actually there's two properties that's still despicably neutral. Neo-tank infantry. I swear, the Noir Cliff's color scheme makes it hard for me to recognize some stuff. Recon does get a shot there. We do now have an Urban Blight deployed in the field. Could allow for excellent boosted damage from off this city and off this city here. That's really about it. Maybe possible good shot here. Infantry can take out this infantry, then the tank can get a booster strike off to that one. So will be shot by nearby artillery piece. Does take up the battlecopter there. Rocket. Probably gonna be eyeing for one of these forests made are beyond the river there. There's excellent boosted shot there. Managed to one-shot it. Hits the HQ unit. Does have vision of this artillery just a little bit too late. Recon, rocket, and infantry. Medium tank does get struck there. Got an anti-air in the shadows. Does take out the capturing infantry unit there. Boost there from the lander. Anti-air will strike the battlecopter, so Kindle's taking quite a bit of losses this turn. They have roughly a turn-to-turn difference in value. Kindle's ever so slightly behind. Artillery gets a good shot there. Hits the infantry unit there. Takes their artillery. ATR takes out that unit there. Battlecopter will strike that tank there. And this artillery in the forest is ready to fire. Now this ATR may be able to destroy this battlecopter no problem as well. Goes from Urban Blight there. And I think this thing actually, yep, it has 4 health. I think I may interrupt some of the damage there. If you look in the bottom left, which... If you look in the bottom left, you can see it down there. Bomber deployed up by Kindle. I was not expecting that. Flash has 20,000 funds to the bank. Kindle has 157 versus 120, so she's about a turn and a half ahead than Lash. And there is the Prime Tactics. Mech does not finish off that tank. Booster strike down infantry. Will be gunned down there. Will be gunned down there. Takes out the battlecopter. Tank with a plus 80% firepower bonus. Does take some shots there against the Medium tank there joins the regular, regular tank there. Tank, recon, anti-air. Good damage there on the artillery. Medium tank falls back to the city. Rocket has fired, so it's getting some value out of it. And does surround the rocket. Another bomber, double bomber. She does have 25,000 income, so she go for a neo tank or bomber every single turn. And right now, Lash is lacking proper amounts of anti-air. She has 2 on the field, but versus double bomber, a fighter's probably called for. Battlecopter, recon, tank, and infantry. She does pull back the anti-airs. Little should know that's actually pretty good for her. Tank, recon, infantry. Does get some good shots there. Starts capturing up the city. Battlecopter, tank, recon, and infantry. Rocket, nope, artillery takes out that one. Rocket takes the recon. Bomber is trying to keep its distance, trying to get a good strike. She does have the Neo Tank spotted, so taking that out would be great. Pop an Urban Blight would be very good if you want to do some economic damage to your opponent, as it will blight that Neo Tank. Tank, recon, infantry. Get some good shots there. Takes out the recon. Got a good number of tanks here. The one's in range artillery and battlecopter and tanks. So Kindle should be doing just fine down south of the current composition of the map. 2 battlecopters, which help easily overrun the single battlecopter. We have a full fighter. Does spot both the bombers there if there's a recon. So going for a fighter is a good idea. Anti-air, infantry, recon. Does strike the recon there. Does have vision of the rocket as well. Does not interrupt the capture there. Neotank is back, once again back on top of a city there, so can receive bonus stamp or urban blight. Neotank may charge forward and hit that medium tank, but it will run into the rocket. Battlecopter, recon, infantry, and anti-air. Got a fighter deployed on the field for air supremacy. Infantry. Good shot there. Bomber rotates back around, splitting them up. But to make it a bit more vulnerable to various ATRs, Urban Blight was summoned. No Neo Tank this time. Does hit a regular tank. Of course, the spawns back there. And this tank over here. So got a decent amount of Blight. This artillery as well. Missed the fighter though. Has 16,000 income. It does take out that tank there. Rocket's pretty exposed if it gets spotted. Does get spotted there. Tank 3 health tank will strike the rocket for a decent amount of damage. Medium tank being struck repeatedly. Battlecopter, infantry, and recon. Both players right now have 197,000, though Kindle is player 2, so she has about a turn ahead advantage. Let's strike that unit there. Recon there does take out the battlecopter. Medium tank will finish that one off. Bomber does strike the regular tank. The bomber will need a bit of a meat shield in front of it. It is vulnerable to anti-air at the moment. 2 anti-airs, has 2 areas where it can be hit. Looks like this bomber will be shot down. Battlecopter will strike battlecopter for another prime tactics. Fighter will take out the bomber, but is now in range of Kindle's fighter. Does get another good picks there. Does take out the medium tank. Does not strike the rocket just yet. And looks like rocket will be left alone. And strength 188 versus 169. ATR will strike the battlecopter. Takes out the capturing infantry in there. Pops an urban blight. Does not have vision of this fighter at the moment, so push for the recon. Will spot it there. And of course does not have vision of the horse there, so only does not take a shot at the recon or the artillery piece. Neo tank recon infantry. Bomber will strike the anti-air, taking it out. Though this anti-air I believe is in range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and another bunch of fighter can follow up. Strikes the rocket there. The rocket does go down. Hits the anti-air. Anti-air will strike bomber with the booster's damage there. Able to get a good shot. Doesn't have to worry about keeping the fighter alive since the bombers are down. Anti-air infantry, and battlecopter. For some reason I thought that Neo tank's gonna get trapped trying to be unloaded. The lander is actually down to 1% health, or 1 health. Battlecopter, anti-air, infantry. The fighter will fall back. Lander does go down. Artillery takes out the infantry. Next strike there does finish off the battlecopter. Damage there onto the artillery. An urban blight could be very nice if she can get enough power charge to help deal with the battlecopter. Tank will strike for recon, does not get boost strike there. Does have vision of the Neo tank now. Need to get another drink nearby. Urban blight was summoned there. The battlecopter should be at 1% health. Great shot there in the Neo tank. Takes on excuse me, sorry for that. And It looks like Kindle is threatening the HQ. Good chance that Lash can easily interrupt this. She almost has another prime tactics as well. Give me one to grab a drink from nearby. My last one didn't have much fluid into it. And it looks like I have something. My throat's being dried out. My apologies. I think she's trying to get the super power charged on up. That's an easy one. Right now, Kindle does have 146,000. Lash is 131. Not too far behind. Gets a booster strike there from Neo Tank. Does not finish off the Battlecopter. Join captures on that despicable neutral property. Couple good hits there. Interrupts the capture even further. Kindle's Neo Tank is almost down. Infantry, tank, and anti-air. Kindle's turn. 120,000 versus 140 with their day-to-day income. They're even. So day-to-day differences. Does manage to machine gun down the tank. Neo Tank does fall back. Relic Tank gets finished off the Neo Tank. Good strike there in the recon. Takes out the capturing squad. Now Lander and T-Copter there is both running low on fuel. Got 21 fuel. Oh, and the T-Copter actually has 0 fuel remaining, so it will fall out of the sky next turn. Battlecopter, tank, infantry, recon. Another tank, another tank. And an A-tier. Looks like Kindle's pulling back multiple units there. Neo Tank charges wave 4, does get in range of this regular artillery piece, which has 4 ammo remaining. We'll be taking out a Battlecopter there. Neo Tank creeps his way forward. And this Battlecopter is surrounded. Takes out the fighter there. This will donate a lot of energy to Kindle. Got some good hits there in that Neo Tank. The Neo Tank is taking quite a severe beating. Urban Blight has now been summoned. We'll soften up this tank here, among other things, like this capping infantry squad, which has 7 or 6 catch-up progress remaining, so it will not be a further interrupt. Does get fully stopped there. Does take a bit of damage there onto that artillery. The artillery taking quite a bit of damage. Lash is now enough for another prime tactic if she wants perfect movement. And the fighter back here did get urban blighted, but healed back up along that Neo Tank, so quite a bit of repairs there. 14,000. There was also a base skip last turn. Just staying out of range of these artillery pieces. Recon, T-Copter, infantry. Oh, does get trapped down there. Infantry, and recon, and Battlecopter. Day 30. Recon reconnoiters the area. Both players are still pretty even value, so neither side has a decisive advantage. Only small advantage that Kindle has at the moment is that she has 2,000 more income. A lot of stuff is getting picked off there in the flank. Artillery's in range of some stuff, however. Tank, infantry, anti-air. It's the anti-air there. Does not avoid that artillery who's in the forest. Does take out that battlecopter with booster strike, probably doing up to close to 150% damage. Neo tank pushed way forward. Got another prime tactics available for Lash. Infantry, tank. Superpower activated. I blinked for a moment and I missed the pop-up. Neotank boosted Neotank, nearly one-shots the Neotank, even if it was at full health, it probably would have. Neotank infantry. Urban Blight has been summoned, which will strike the Neotank that freshly got exploded in the field. Hits an anti-air tank there. A number of stuff. Does spot that anti-air a little bit too late. Battlecopter, artillery, infantry, and infantry. Next power is going to cost 70,000. Next superpower next power costs 72. Recon tank. I see a number of units parked on top structures, so just got an eye for Lord's Runner repairs. Stops caps there, does spot the artillery. Gets that capping squad. Does take out the AT-air there. New tank strikes the artillery piece, but there's a Neo tank nearby which is out of vision range. Yeah, ATS only have 2 vision range rather than 3. I don't know why I thought it had 3. Why my mind's a little bit melted. We also got a nice little ambush here. Got a tank in range of the tank. It looks not going to go well for Kindle next turn. Big hit there. Does finish off the Neo tank there. It finds the artillery as well. Taking out a large amount of losses right now. Tank will strike the anti-air. This may be the point with the turn that Lash may actually won the game based on the amount of good engagement she had so far. At 160,000 versus 122. Bomber now deployed on the southern part of the southern airport. Takes on a number of units there. Lash's turn, 146 versus 144, so they are even at the moment when it comes to value. Does get a great strike there on that battlecopter, but their ATR is in range of the artillery piece, so is that Neo tank, but the artillery does get hit by a rare tank. Tank, recon, and anti-air. Bomber does find the Neo tank and pops Urban Blight, interrupts the capture here in the center. among other things. Does get trapped there, and does get a booster strike on that artillery piece, and will take it out. Booster strike onto the recon rather than the regular tank. Artillery does get a strike there, and will perhaps finish off the battle copter, or at least got it good enough. Surrounds that infantry, and trying to keep the Neo tank away from other units. The bomber is potentially in range of a anti-air, but we'll have to go through one of those units. Something just exploded there. Was that the black boat still alive that went down there? Or lander? Fighter does go ahead and strike the bomber there, taking half its health out. ATR knocks out the battle copter. ATR takes out the bomber. Big losses here by Kindle. Kindle's now below 100,000 value in the field. Infantry, battlecopter, infantry, and tank. Kindle's making some small victories. Tank, artillery. It's that infantry unit there. Neo tank gets good boost strike onto the anti-air. Battlecopter, recon, infantry, artillery. T-copter gets put on the airport, 15 fuel remaining. Artillery, anti-air, tank. Up north, there's not a whole lot for both sides. Kindle's Neo tank does fall back direction, but right now Lash has a pretty good force center. Another Urban Blight could be popped this turn. Trying to shift down south. Kindle does have some units down there, and the fighter does manage to make back the airport. And this time Lash does go for a rocket. Infantry, anti-air, and battlecopter. T-copter does not unload just yet. Does unload there. Rocket does advance to the forest. It does get trapped there. Anti-air, artillery. He drops that captured there. Right now, Kindle still has the income advantage. The big difference is the flip city in the center. Takes out that recon up north. Neo tank up north is almost fully, or is fully repaired. And Kindle's now starting to capture some properties. Does hit the infantry down south. Looks like Lash is going to try to flip that southern property. We do have a bomber on the field now, as was another pair of infantry, or trio of... Oh, it was basic, so just a pair of infantry. Excuse me. That'll strike that unit there, and trying to flip another property. This property that Kindle's trying to flip has... It started at 9 health, so won't be captured till next turn. Neo tank, infantry. Takes the recon, takes up the tank there. Anti-air takes up battlecopter. It does pop the Urban Blight there, which will wound this infantry unit there, causing it to delay in capture. Good shot there. Does take the battlecopter. It takes out the infantry unit there with the infantry unit. Take 4 turns for that 6 infantry unit to capture it. This battlecopter should be able to get 1 shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, out of range that other battlecopter. Good damage there. Will interrupt the capture, but boosted strike there wouldn't be half bad. Artillery straightforward. Kindle feels like she's losing both fronts right now, and Lash right now has 208 versus 157. And here will strike the battlecopter. Artillery strikes the recon, and recon takes out the unit. Neo takes a good strike there. Does hit the artillery there to save his Neo taking some pain, though we'll be losing the battlecopter to the nearby anti-air. Though it does get a good shot onto that anti-air. Battlecopter, anti-air, recon. Good shot there onto the artillery. Down to 1 health. Anti-air. Infantry and artillery. Battlecopter will finish off the battlecopter. The artillery may just try to stick to cities. Yep. And didn't merge their 2 artillery pieces together. And right now there's nothing to stop these battlecopters up north. It needs another anti-air. Maybe the battlecopter could be useful for that as well. And over on the right side there's still rocking good amount of supporting units there. That 7 health fire that's been staying alive the entire game can be brought in to take on that bomber, as well as the other battlecopters. Oh. I can't move any turns, so I think maybe Kindle may have resigned this turn. That is the last turn. Give me a refresh. I need to look up the game, good old-fashioned way. And how to look up the game directly. The game's completed, but it looks like nobody won? Am I misreading that? Not sure how it looks on your guys' screen, based on how I have everything here, but it says game complete, but doesn't say who actually won the game. I'm guessing Kindle did resign. If I click on this one here, you can see nothing saying anybody lost. The game just simply ended. I think they may have called it a draw. Huh. Oh, either way, this Angrade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. My apologies. Yeah, I'm just a bit confused. Let's see. 30 draws, so that may have been one of the draws. Oh, either way, on to the next replay. Give me a moment to adjust the thing here. And before I get started, I do need to use the restroom. Please give me a moment. My apologies, I am back. So, let's go ahead and get started. Greetings everyone, and Grade here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay. Spawn on the north side as the Black Hole Hawk. We got Dragon Scale. Spawn on the south side as, was this White Nova? There it is. Yeah, White Nova Von Bolt. We got Zischi22, probably butchered that name well enough. This map is a 2-base map. Actually, no, it is a 3-base map. Got the strong side and weak side mechanic. Airport's more on the weak side, but of course can go either way, such as up or downwards. East and west. The weak side does have a number of defendable terrain tiles here for a bit of protection, or to the lob rounds over the mountains to protect the HQ. Got another tank, or a tank now deployed in the field. Bombo does 12,000 funds, does go a tank to match the tank. And there's also a pair of counters in the center of the map. However, the center, it's secure on the strong side, so if you lose the counter on your strong side, something went very wrong or very right. Looks like units are starting to push way forward. Pushing forward to interrupt will result in retaliation. Of course, there's a reinforcing tank there. It sees this tank here, so Hawk is going to do this, has to go for a chain of tanks. Von Bolt, if he wants to intercept, has to go for more tanks. Of course, both sides have 3-star defense. Von Bolt has +10/+10. Hawk just simply has +10/+0. So I may see the chain of tanks. Hawk could push forward this tank here to get a strike onto that one. Both like to tank to the city there, so it's going to be a bit more economical. Try and preserve it just ever so slightly. Plus, nice thing about having this vehicle slight damage means it can be repaired up by his power and superpower, which is almost a bit more of a consolation prize of the superpower and power, because it's very hard to get uses out of that part of the superpower and power. Good on you if you do. Tank, mech, and infantry. So we do have a mech deployed on the strong side. Just to capture over here, only 1 damage. And it's tank getting double tapped, and now we've got more tanks here. Bombbolt has 2 extremely wounded tanks there. This tank could barge forward and get a good shot maybe on the 7 health tank. A lot less defense there. Pulls back, puts the 4 health tank on top of nearby property. The 1 health tank's going to go back even further. Looks like Von Bolt's getting a chain of mechs on the west side. Infantry unit does get hit by a tank on the platform. Good strike there. Double taps the tank. Will put some machine gun rounds and fully surrounds it. So does get some good damage there. So if Von Bolt wants to strike some of these tanks, he has to go either through the infantry or go around. Luckily, this tank here can range 6 health tank. The 1 health tank could escape. This infantry unit could start capturing that property. The number of captures, 17,000 versus 15,000. 1 health tank finds a city to park at. Does use a 6 health tank to strike the 7 health tank. Battlecopter tank, trying to use the battlecopter to stabilize the right side. Hawk will need to put out a anti-air to help stop it. Maybe another tank along with it. He has 17,000 or 15,000 funds, so tank and artillery, or tank and anti-air cost 14,000. Leave the last base with 1,000. We'll pull out infantry in there. And somehow that 1 health tank still survives, probably at 1% health now. Got serious tanks there. There's actually with the amount of damaged units he has on the field, there's an argument made for a black wave. Does lose that unit there. Other tank does get struck. Yeah, there is an argument right now for a black wave. Soften up some of these units across the map and then get a bit of health restoration. Mech will take a strike on the unit on the city, down to 1 health. Infantry, battlecopter, and base skip. And he had 4,000 funds there, so he could have gotten infantry in there. Maybe forgot about it and just simply forgot. Does manage to capture the city in the corner there, 1717. Still a handful of despicable neutral properties. This Black Storm, with all the 4 health tanks, or 2 health tanks on the field, this Black Storm could be very useful. Those 5 health tanks would like to strike one of them, and another tank would like to strike the other, so that he probably won't get that value. And it looks like 2 health tank may live for now. Tank, infantry. Once again, save some money in the bank. And maybe a Black Storm this turn. No Black Storm. Tank, battlecopter, repair of infantry. Finish off some of those wounded tanks. Artillery gets struck. Black Storm is now available. Anti-air a bit far away. Battlecopter heading on the west side. So this anti-air is the only anti-air he has in the region, so it can at least strike one of the infantry there. And here comes a Black Storm. Goes from 64,000 versus 83 to 68,000 to 64. So greatly equalize the map right there. Does get some shots there, takes a number of tanks. Anti-air heading in the center of the map, and looks like it's pretty well protected for now. Don't think any of these wounded tanks can range it. Wounded tanks fall back from various cities. Mech gets a good strike there in the tank. And the Ex Machina landed somewhere over here. Looks like it landed right there on top of the missile silo platform. Which also means the anti-air is locked down, meaning the battlecopters have a full turn to reign supreme. It basically, the bombboat has a double turn on the right flank. $68 for 63. So the mechs are starting to get machine gunned down. Battlecopter is out of range of the anti-air. $70,000 for 78. Does strike the anti-air there. Should have gone for another anti-air on this flank. Try and clean up some of those units there. A lot of those units are very wounded. Anti-air does not strike the battlecopter. Feels like Volleyball has good grasp on both sides and has a high unit count. Though right now the value between the two is marginal, 11,000 or 12,000. Though it is, Hawk is going second, so he basically has a half turn behind. Tank, anti-air. Battlecopter, strike Battlecopter, knocking it out. This Battlecopter may need to be sacked to take out that Battlecopter. Anti-air is in range. Would be in range after that. Tank, tank, and tank. Still got a despicable neutral property here, and that's the only despicable neutral property on the map. And it looks like that property is starting to be flipped. Of course, there's 7 health infantry unit there. Good strike on the tanks. Does take out that, or mostly take it out. Another Black Storm is available. Medium tank down south. Black Wave summoned. So he goes for his power. You can get a good shot there on the 2 health tank and the 1 health tank. Does interrupt this capture, leaving it 1 health low. A lot of good shots there on the right flanks. Does surround the Battlecopter and this tank as well, so able to pick those off next turn. Though this 3 health tank may be able to take out the 2 health tank and the Battlecopter could escape. And turn for 95,000. Vulnerable starts turn for 71. Interrupts this capture. Tank infantry. And mostly just repositioning. Takes out the Battlecopter there. Tank on tank. Does not take it out. Almost tank maybe will just retaliate and take it out instead. Infantry, tank, and Battlecopter. And looks like Bombo does win that duel. Takes out the capping squad. This other squad could easily be interrupted with a nearby infantry unit, like that one, as well as that one. Now it's very much interrupted. Does get some good damage over here, leaving that tank down to 1 health. And looks like Vulnerable's able to pressure with all this infantry still has on the side of the map. Tank, infantry, and tank. Battlecopter, artillery, infantry. Tank, infantry, tank. Good number of those units starting to go on down. Medium tank will strike that infantry unit there. Not a super great target for it, but it's good enough. Ex Machina will likely strike here. Could strike here. It could also strike right here. He's probably going to try to kill off as many things as possible, manipulate where it will strike. Tank, infantry, battlecopter, and no Ex Machina. If Hawks groups of the forces with this attack, he could lock down entire flank. Vomble could lock down entire flank. It got a powers pop on the field. Might as well pop it out. Wound his opponent's next turn, since it's going to be an Ex Machina upon the field. It looks like everything's pretty well spread apart. I think he's trying to bait it back here. Ooh, I think it's going to strike. Could strike. I have no idea what's going to strike. This seems like it's the most likely target. Medium tank is far enough away from the battlecopter, so it probably won't strike over here. It could strike just right there, but we'll find out. Looks like it's going to try to manipulate where it lands. It did strike the medium tank. Infantry, battlecopter, infantry, and tank. Another infantry. Instead of 95, Hawk has 101. The medium tank is, of course, locked down, which could allow Vomble to be taken to strike it, but it is being softened up a little bit. Gets a strike there on the battlecopter. His medium tank does fall back. Infantry, battlecopter, infantry, and tank. It's now those tanks over there. Mech is in range to soften up some more targets. Good strikes there. The interior maybe will strike that battlecopter if it gets a bit of an opening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if this tank gets removed, then it can take a more direct path of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Battlecopter will be shot up and shot down. Infantry, interior, and tank. Does take out that target there, takes the battlecopter along with it, finish off that tank there, finish off the infantry in there. It's that infantry in there, but a lot of targets that are now within range of the artillery. If you have one target in range of the artillery, you might as well send multiple targets up in the range of artillery, because they can only strike one of those said targets. Infantry, tank, and artillery. Battlecopter, infantry, infantry. And it looks like the artillery just creeping its way forward, has this flank sort of locked down. Hawk has 111,000 on the field versus 95. Hawk could deploy another power. Good strikes on the left flank. You have another black wave available. Infantry, tank, tank. Good strikes there. Medium tank in the region, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to deal with. There's a number of tanks here to help deal with the medium tank. And one battlecopter, but overall it feels like Hawk is a pretty good position right there. Of course, if he's not too careful, Ex Machina could lock on that entire flank. Needs a bit more fundings for it. Medium tank and tank push way forward just out of artillery range. Does get a good strike there, and does perhaps sack a battlecopter. Sack his anti-air. I'm not sure why he sacked the battlecopter right there. And the anti-airs are in range. Maybe trying to donate power charge to get out an Ex Machina. Ex Machina is almost available, as well as a Black Storm. Ex Machina will very likely strike right here. Maybe playing a little bit too passively. He knows Ex Machina on strike is not going to land over here. I don't think there's enough value over here. He could have been a bit more aggressive to get the power charge for Ex Machina to lock down the flank and position the artillery from range in the medium tank. Problem is also those two battle copters. Sack some of his units there and try to go for the Black Storm. And there's Black Storm. Took a fair amount of damage from that. But on that, it did get repaired enough from the Black Storm itself. We'll finish off that medium tank. Nope, we'll not finish off that medium tank there. Probably close to 1%. I have no idea where Ex Machina is going to land. It could strike right here. Is that going to strike right here? Or somewhere in this formation? Oh. That's the resign button, not the Ex Machina button. There's Angrade saying, thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. That should be good. Greetings everyone, and right here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay. So on the north side as the Orange Star Max, we got Leviton JLVL. So on the south side as the Purple Lightning Eagle, we have Maus, I think. This map has a weird start of where player wanted to capture both of the factories immediately. Both players have a tank on top of opponent's city, while Purple down south only has one base captured and will need to capture the other one. It's unusual start, I'm just going to leave it at that. Let's get started. It is a 2-base map, 1 airport. You do have a free APC in the corner, but it'll take a bit of time to break it out. Black boats on top of your HQ as well. Recon now employed in the field. And does park the tank there next to the artillery, but Eagle will move it off and actually is going to try to capture up destroy this pipe seam. While taking time to deal with the tank at the moment. Max could take time to put some more rounds into the pipe seam, may be able to. Yeah, I don't think, as an observer, I can see how much damage it does to the pipe seam. It has equivalent health to a Neo tank, right? Max, if he would have took another shot at that pipe seam earlier, could have potentially freed his own tank there. Max doesn't have mech here. Maybe he's going to try to hit that tank. But Max tank here could down to 7% health and has 5 hours remaining. Max will perhaps get his tank free. Eagle may need to go for another artillery piece down there to help intercept it. There's a machine gun round there. Tank infantry. And looks like Max's tank will be set free. Will be immediately ambushed. But it's probably a good idea. I mean, basically you're going to get no damage from it either way. Pulls it back instead. Now this tank is right into this other tank, but out of vision range at the moment. Pipe seam does get cleaned on up. And does spot the tank there. And he will not charge forward. Does not see the other tank there, so just gonna keep that tank in the woods for ambush. And become bush. Takes out the pipe scene there. And this mech is getting repaired on up. Putting some rounds there under the pipe scene. Recon will interrupt the capture. Does hit the tank in the forest. Tank hits the forest. Takes out that infantry unit in particular. Don't know if that's a good idea. He's leaving this tank in range of other tanks. I mentioned Max's tank is, well, free. Artillery is in range, so we'll provide some good coverage. At least provide cover for this tank here, but this tank is still exposed. So he did take... basically lose a tank for free thanks to this tank here, and this tank can escape. He sees the artillery, so just drive away. Don't let it get shot up for free. Now Eagle will get a free double tap there. Oh, we'll take out that one tank. And since Max pulled back all of his tanks there, he does not have a proper counterattack. Though his max force will provide all his direct units +1 range. Which could be enough to range multiple stuff like this artillery, yeah. Max force would be quite useful. Help range some of the stuff. But not all of them. I said there is an argument to be made for max force this turn. Max slowly taking out this pipe scene. 19% health remaining. Does take out that tank there. Does hit the artillery piece. Next turn, there's highly likely going to be a max force. I don't think there's going to be a max blast too much this game. I think usually max force just enough. Does strike the recon there. Here's a pipe scene there, tank, and battlecopter infantry. Interrupts the capture there. Max has both comm towers. That's quite a bit of extra firepower, I just realized. Takes out the artillery there. A lot of his direct units are being held in reserve, trying to perhaps catch him off guard with a max blast. Lightning strike course can be very devastating. Looks like large numbers of tanks are just pulled back out of range. So max force and max blast are given +2 range, so can range a good number of these tanks over here. But of course needs a bit of spotting. Recon in the region can help spot. Black Bolt does repair the recon. Stops the capture entirely, so Max will maintain both comm towers. Does strike that infantry unit there. ATO takes the battlecopter. Tank anti-air. Does hit that infantry unit there. Recon does get struck, so does the tank. Gets double tapped. Battlecopter tank infantry. And Max Blast is still not available, and Lightning Drive is soon to be available. Which Max may need to pop his... Yep, does activate his Max Blast now. Because he needs to blunt the Lightning Strike. But of course, charging in means he's going to be at point blank range, and the Lightning Strike will be devastating either way. That's a good strike there. lot of units are very close, but this core of tanks is still here. I see a lot of assets still here. This lightning strike's going to be devastating. Max ended his turn of 119, while Eagle starts turn of 86, and I'm feeling this lightning strike's going to be bad. Does interrupt some captures there. He spots the anti-air there, so he can take one of his tanks and knock it out. Doesn't have to be this first turn. Battlecopter tank has 1,000 funds remaining, so only one more infantry can be on the field unless it does emerge. Does spot the two tanks there, or battlecopters by Max. Takes out one of them. The other battlecopter could strike the other. Takes out the anti-air as well. Had to spend a whole tank turn to finish it off. Should we use the full health tank or the 8 health tank there? Max's turns down. Went from 111 down to 66. Eagle ends turn of 96, so he's about 30,000 funds ahead, so a little overturn. But the front lines are smashing together, so Eagle or Max can't get a good turn. Hits the anti-air quite nicely. And still has both comm towers. That's something very important to note. The 3 health battlecopter can't stop the capture, so you will need to finish off one of these units before it can stop the capture. Decides not to do it there. I think he should have finished off this tank here and then stack the battlecopter onto it. So the comm tower will be flipped next turn. Strike the mech there. And Eagle's overall falling back. Battlecopter, infantry. Oh, goes, get trapped at the end of the turn. Takes out that unit there. A pretty weak turn there. 102 versus 87. So Eagle has its day-to-day difference. No real advantage from either side. Anti-air infantry saves up 7,000 funds, so maybe going for a bomber or neo tank next turn. Does get a lot of good strikes there. Takes out the mech there, gets resupplied by the black boat. Merge those tanks together. Couple good strikes there. Eagle has fallen back. Max has more fuel to control, but his forces are pretty spread out. Eagles are pretty tightly congested. Another Max forces is available. Good strike there on that tank. And on that one as well. Tank infantry. Oh, we do have now Max Blast popped in mid-turn. Also give us plus 2 movement range on this medium tank, which best target for is probably one of these tanks of the anti-air. Take out one of those tanks there. We do have not the battlecopter going down. One battlecopter will be going down. Does strike the other battlecopter. This does take it out. This other battlecopter is revealed. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. And Eagle goes for full bomber and ambush spawn bomber. Takes out one of the anti-airs immediately. The other anti-air will be knocked out. Does put the 1 health tank there to help save the bomber from a bit of damage with the 3 health anti-air. Not a super powerful lightning strike, but definitely did equalize the game a little bit there. Max has 89, equal end turn for 83. Medium tank in range, or artillery in range to the medium tank. Which just may still be a good idea to just use the bomber to take it out. So I'm gonna flip that comm tower there. Does not take out that anti-air there. It's probably close to 1% health. Double anti-air. Does take out that tank. Tank, battlecopter, and infantry. Does take out the mech there. Do you have a max force? Both players have pretty similar value in the field, so it's day-to-day difference. And do now have a fighter deploy on the field to counter the bomber. It may be best to use honestly anti-airs and just rely on powers and superpowers to help chase it down. I don't think the fighter is really necessary. Of course, Max can't go for a missile. And Max does have a fair number of battle coppers at the moment. Eagle has a good number of anti-airs. Tank. Infantry, tank, bomber pulls back ever so slightly. We saw that 1 health infantry unit that's on top, was on top of the mountain, but that was probably good spotting. We do have, of course, this property being flipped. Here's how far that fighter reaches. Oh, well, can't click on it, this is Fog of War. Neo tank deployed by Eagle. Both sides have got a bit of stalemate there in this Fog of War game. Recon, battlecopter. And does get some hits there on the pipe seam, but that pipe seam's not going to be doing much at the moment. Does not take a shot at the recons, it's top of the force. Does take out the anti-air there, puts a round into that tank, recon, and finish it off. New tank carry forward, takes out the infantry unit there, trying to flip this property. Max has 20,000 income versus 16,000. And now I've got a rocket deployed by Eagle. Max has almost enough for another max blast. Max force is still very much usable. Does not spot the artillery since it's inside the forest. Probably is extremely aware of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the battlecopter is in range of this anti-air. Vision-wise is another matter. Tank does spot it. Anti-air will take out that battlecopter. Gonna flip that property once again. Bomber rotating over to the east. Battlecopter, recon infantry. Interrupts the capture once again. Eagle's very far away from a lightning strike, very close to a max blast in return. Tank. Does get a good hit there in the battle on the anti-air. There's still, of course, the anti-air and fighter in reserve. Gonna cause issues for this bomber. This 1 health or 6 health battlecopter could go to the black boat, get some repairs, and resupply its ammo. Takes out that capping squad once again. And Max Blast is available and does pop it after scouting out with the recon. Maybe he has a plan for this Neo tank. Got some good shots there. Battlecopter charge way forward. Don't think there's a lightning strike. Lightning strike could be possible next turn, but there's going to have to be a lot of engagements. I don't think he has enough units in range to get enough power charge for that. Oh wait, now it's not Black Blast. It's just simply a max force, but it wasn't too sniffly great either, honestly. Takes out the battlecopter. Good strikes there. Neo tank gets onto the missile silo platform. Another bomber, infantry, and infantry. Does have vision of the rockets, and the recon and infantry is in range. That's a little bit dangerous. He normally put the Neo tank in range of the rocket. Of course, when this infantry unit can get on top of the mountain and get some excellent spotting. Also got a good number of aircraft here. I think Eagle may need to get a fighter over this region. Definitely need to go for maybe double anti-air for defense once he gets the infantry on top of the mountainside. With our cast vision, we know that was definitely the wrong target. We'll take out that unit there, though. The rocket is in range of the Neo tank. Anti-air tank. Bombers could be a bit more in a sort of position because there's a good chance he will get a lightning strike not this turn, but the following. Got a 1-2 punch of max forces. Strikes the rocket there of the tank, taking a 1 shot. Didn't even need the Neo tank for that. There goes that Neo tank as well. Eagles lost quite a bit and pulls back some of his valuable units there. So he's sacking these units there for Eagle's lightning strike. And everything else is sort of just pulling back. He's knows this lightning strike is going to hurt. And so he's sacking half of his army. He is at 219 versus 141. Tank will spot a whole lot of nothing. He's charging forward the wounded tanks there to get some good spotting. Eagle Pass took out that battlecopter with this anti-air of the second turn. Good hits there. Take out a good number of those units. He could just save the lightning strike. He probably should save the lightning. He's going to save the lightning strike. It's like he knows that his second turn won't be that useful, and he's not any big threats. His opponent pulled back all the way to the side of the map. Right now it's 180,000, 155. So Max did sack half his army or a bit of his army for really no real gain. I suppose he did take out a Neo tank and a rocket, so it wasn't too, not necessarily no gain. Does free the APC and resupplies the bomber there. Double recon there, that's quite understandable. He's trying to spot for his lightning strike. Charging for the recons to spot stuff is a good idea. And then he can get a second turn with them to get more spotting, become a bit more of a forced recon. And Max just in a very ultra defense position. Because he knows that he can't really push forward. He's trying to make as big as a gap as possible. Trading land for hopefully a bit of a mistake from his opponent. His opponent's now trying to flip multiple properties, so right now 17 versus 19,000 income, and there's 3 properties being flipped, including 1 is a comm tower. Eagle's playing ultra defensive. And with our castle vision, we know there is no real big threat. Does flush out some of these units there. Get some good damage there. Yep, we're going to see the lightning strike this turn, I believe. Maybe not. He does pop the lightning strike to save his bombers a bit of a beating. And another max force could be utilized for counterattacking. There's of course, a couple anti-airs there. We got a large number of bombers here. Max does have a number of anti-aircraft and a fighter. Recon does spot the fighter. A man strike maxes bomber there. And does strike the anti-air on top of the base. It will finish it off as well. Got another anti-air here there, but he will have to base lock himself. He wants to strike the bomber. He does base lock his opponent, so no longer has to base lock himself to take out a bomber. Max force, max blast. Max force has been summoned. Right now he's at 139 versus 194. Fighter takes out that one unit there. It will probably be worth it to base lock himself to destroy the bomber there. Oh yeah, this is not Tiny Wars. Trying to see, yeah, that should be a one-shot. If Eagle does fight it, oh nope, he does manage to survive. Eagle's passive day-to-day defense actually come in handy there. And serve 136 versus 154. Does take out the battlecopter there. Last turn there was a medium tank there, saved 6,000 funds. Bomber was pulled back to the airport. And looks like Eagle decides to fall back a little bit there. This game has been a weird mix of poking forward and defensive and then being ultra aggressive and ultra defensive. I have no idea really what to make of this game so far. APC could be let loose. Some units are starting to run low on fuel. Fighter, infantry, so Eagle does go for air supremacy weapon. And Eagle does have more income now, and trying to get a bigger lead. 70,000 versus 19,000, 162 versus 158. Interrupts the capture there. The battlecopter is almost out of fuel. That battlecopter will be sacked. Another max force is almost available. Does take another battlecopter. Anti-air. And infantry. Another max force activated there. Of course, max force does not affect infantry units there. Get some good damage on the anti-air, giving some of his units a bit more breathing room. Does see a number of targets in front of him, but now that he knows about the anti-air in this region, and does go ahead and resign. His angry, saying, "Think of watching," and on to next replay. Before I get started next replay, I do need his restroom. Please give me a moment. Apologies, I'm back. Probably have time maybe for one more replay tonight. So I already did that match before. I'll save this one to next week. Here we go, let's do this one. Sasha and Javier. That seems good to me. Let's go ahead and get started. Greetings everyone, and Great here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay. Spawn on the south side as the, what's this, Azure Teal Galaxy Javier, we got Maowoos. Spawn on the north side as the Purple Lightning Sasha, we got Liruza. Let's get started. This is a 2-base map? I don't think it cast this map before. Yeah, it looks like 2-base, 1 airport, 1 safe comm tower. You don't have the mean to go for that. So that means Javier and I have nice 10% extra defense this game, which is not too bad. Not to mention, one of his bigger parts of his day-to-day passive I've been becoming more appreciated is his plus 20% indirect defense. Sasha probably should not be popping her... what's it called? Or deploying out too much indirects. Additionally, her market crash is not really mandatory in this situation. This may be a matchup where Warbond's a bit more viable, since Javier will of course provide indirect defense and he will get additional either plus 10, of course the additional plus 10 for active power or superpower, or plus 20, so in total plus 20, 20, plus 20, or plus 30, plus 30. Which is not too terrible to deal with. It'll be a weaker version of what's his name? Conbai. But yeah. Yep, straight in front of the artillery, so these tanks cannot really push forward all too well. They will be shelled. We also got some reserve tanks here. But yeah, this may be a matchup where Warbonds get utilized. Because popping the power to deny Javier's power is not really necessary. Tank's a little bit exposed, but will be retaliated upon with a tank, so it won't be a good trade. Battlecopter heading down south. There's also a seaport over here if you really want to deploy out a battleship. Good shot there. Tank, the artillery was struck there. This 4 infantry unit was pulled back. This tank can go ahead and strike the full health tank or the 5 health. Does strike the full health. Another ATR here with another tank. Right now, Javier is actually on threat of losing the southern flank. He needs to get this tank over here, I guess. Sasha has Flint on the interior, which is very effective versus infantry, of course. But she may need to keep this 5 or 8 health infantry alive. She has no reinforcement over here. Some despicable neutral properties over here. 15,000 income versus 16,500. So she has, both players have 15 properties. I suppose I can just look at this southern number here, then try and do mathematics. Takes out the 1 health infantry unit there with extreme overkill and prejudice. Battlecopter tank. Does take out the artillery, but now she's in range of Javier's tanks. Both these tanks could be struck. That mentions 8 health tanks here. I think Sasha overextended a little bit there. She's going to get retaliated by tanks. Anti-hero take out the entry there, increase the surface area to hit these tanks. Tank 1 strikes. Tank 2 strikes. Power shield. Okay, interesting. Giving him +10/+10 with additional +10/+10, so +20/+20. Nice bit of offense defense. Getting both these tanks down to 1 health. Yeah, I think Sasha should just save up for war bonds at this point in time, since she didn't interrupt the power. Medium tank infantry. In the case of war bonds, you want a large, you want to do a large number of engagements. So in this case, with the amount of tanks in the field, she probably wants to get a good core of tanks. Battle copters to be adequate. Medium tank is a little bit against that sort of philosophy. Oh, this anti-air cannot strike this infantry unit there because this tank would be in range. And a point where it's not in range. Not like it's in a good position either. This tank, all this tank needs to do is go up this way, and this anti-air will be trapped. I think the anti-air should have been pulled back there. Tank, and of course nothing at the airport. Both players getting actually sizable amount of funding. She's getting to the point where she's probably just go tank battlecopter. Medium tank infantry. Sasha's day-to-day passive is very strong. Just getting extra 100%, 10% fundings is always very nice. Oh, does pop the market crash there. I generally think she should be saving up for war bonds. I don't think it's worth it against Javier, though. Did not take out the entire power bar, so. Battlecopter infantry. Number of good picks there, losing a good number of assets. Sasha does have a good amount of heavy armor here. A lot of tanks, medium tank and neo tank. Just one medium tank over here. Though Mark Crash does buy the +10/+10, which is going to be a used amount of firepower this game. Good shots there. Does pop a market crash. Looks like she's not going to be eyeing war bonds whatsoever this game. Infantry, tank, and battlecopter with 5,000 funds to spare. Hard to get enough funds for 2 tanks and a battlecopter each turn. You will need, what, 14 plus 900, so 23,000. So, what, 2 more properties and she can get that? There's also this despicable neutral property there. A number of these tanks are just simply overrun. Javier is doing quite excellent. Medium tank is a good shot there. Even sacks the anti-air there, brings the medium tank in range. Overall, Javier is playing this game quite excellently. Does pop tower shield in turn. Don't want to get crashed. This of course gives him additional defense, help weather a storm from the neo tank, allowing that tank to survive. So the tower shield is actually being very useful this game. Hits medium tank twice, but the extra defense panning out. Battlecopter tank. Javier started stabilizing this southern flank. So this anti-air will get a free shot on one of those battlecopters. So that unit there. We do have a lot of power charge for Sasha. Lots of good strike on those tanks. Right now, Sasha's lacking a number of units, so war bonds won't be particularly effective. She's probably just going to go for a market crash again. When it comes to funding on the field, right now they're equal. Pops another Mark Crash there, does not entirely remove Javier's power bar. Does get some hits there on those infantry units there. Finish off the anti-air. Meeting starting to fall back. Javier has gotten a severe number of artillery. 2 anti-airs, one which is actually getting pretty low in fuel. Does go for a Neo tank now, so Javier feels like he has a good position on the left flank. Battlecross push straight forward. Looks like there's a blind spot or two thanks to the pipe scenes, the river, which is basically a drainage ditch. Battlecopter infantry anti-air. And this mountain causes some mobility issues. Javier probably needs a regular tank out in this direction to help stabilize the region. Maybe a medium tank to help stabilize the region. Neo tank here is exposed from 2 flanks, so Battlecopter can always get on top of that river. Whether it be on top or above. Another Neo tank. Does get some hits on the tank here. Anti-air strike, anti-air. Of course, can't finish off. On the fall of 4 health, Battlecopters can be knocked out. Does pop the Mark Crash there. Battlecopter strikes the Battlecopter. Infantry anti-air. Tank tried to free itself, but can't really do much with that 2 health. A couple Neo tanks up here. Looks like Javier is just trying to be a little bit defensive. I still believe he needs perhaps a regular tank over here. More tanks. Let's go with another Battlecopter. He does have a fair number of Battlecopters, but the ATS can cause some issues. Sasha creeps his way forward on the right flank. Creeps straight forward, strikes the artillery, not the Neo tank. Market crash there, but these Neo tanks are range of artillery. I don't think that was a great positioning there. And we do have an opening here to hit this Battlecopter at least. Does not take out that Neo tank just yet. Take out that Battlecopter. Takes out that one. And does not take out the Neo tank. There's probably getting close to 1% health. Medium tank gets good strike there on the Neo tank. Power can be popped. Right now the Mark Crash has a lot of power charge before it needs to be utilized again there. I don't know what Sasha was thinking this turn. Javier's at 155,000 value. Sasha's 122. Does get some strikes down there, but the Battlecopter's largest getting thrown away there. Anti-air nearby, and there's a large number of Battlecopters, so this tank can be focused on by a pair of Battlecopters. Tower shields will likely be summoned this turn, and will be summoned immediately. Battlecopter strikes Battlecopter, manages to one-shot it. Thanks to the tower shield. Battlecopter strikes infantry unit there. Does hit infantry unit again. Manages to finish it off. Gets out a pair of tanks there. Does not use the tank to strike take out the anti-air, so it looks like on sack a Battlecopter or 2 to the anti-airs. Javier is making good progress on both flanks. 165 is 108. Sasha's about 2 turns behind. Market Crash was utilized at the beginning of the turn, which will nuke all the power charge of Javier while giving her +10/+10. Does not take out that anti-air. Anti-air tank. Medium tank will strike the Neo tank up north. Interrupts the capture. Anti-air infantry. And we've got another tower shield activated there. Just popping as soon as it can since the opponent's been actively using market crashes. Medium tank does strike the medium tank there. Does not finish off, down to 1 health. Battlecopter strike battlecopter. Neo tank infantry. Looks like Javier ends turn of 155 again. Sasha starts her turn of 82 and ends and resigns. The Sandgrade saying, thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. As mentioned beforehand, this shall be my last replay tonight. So everyone, thank you for watching. Have a good evening.